Hello, entrepreneurs, and welcome. I am Terry Levine, and I'm here with some very special guests, and you are going to get tons of value today. Let me just introduce them, and then I'm going to turn it right over to them so that you can learn from them. With us today, I have Mark Friedman. Mark is a certified expense reduction consultant. You should have your ears perking up for that. He's a serial entrepreneur, CEO, best-selling author, and he loves helping people. He has over 40 years of experience. He has an extensive network of experts who help businesses answer an important question that we all run into at one point or another. Am I paying more than market price? I bet some of you have asked yourself that question. Mark and his team help companies free up cash to be reinvested into helping employees, into growing the company, and to creating social impact. Yannick Silver is also here. He's been called a cosmic catalyst, a maverick mischief maker, and a galactic goofball. That one's my favorite. He redefines how business is played in the 21st century at the intersection of more profits, more fun, and more impact. Yannick is the creator of the Cosmic Journal, which I am using every day and loving it. He's the author of Evolved Enterprise, which I have now read 3 times. And he is also the founder of Maverick 1000, which is a global network of top entrepreneurs and visionary entrepreneurs making a very serious difference in the world at the same time without taking themselves too seriously. So I'm going to remove myself because you don't need to see me, and I'm going to let them take it over.
All right. Thank you so much, Terry. So great to be on with all the entrepreneurs as well. And then also we have Max Friedman, who is our COO of Evolved Profits and Evolved ERC. So you get all of us. Did we lose Mark?
I am here.
All right. So just a quick way. So Mark and I met many years ago, and I've been kind of bugging Mark about, hey, can you explain to me all this expense reduction stuff, because it seems really interesting since it goes straight to your bottom line. And then I thought, it'd be really interesting as well. How do we combine it with a way of, companies always want to have a way that they can make an impact, but it shows up as an expense for them typically. But if there was free money for them that they would then apply to making an impact, that to me sounded like a good idea. And that's one of the ways Mark and I came together. So Mark, I'll turn it over to you and maybe to share some ideas with everyone here about how you can save some money right now.
Yeah, so we'll get into a few slides in a couple minutes, but the key right now is, as everyone can imagine, that most vendors and partners of yours, and think of your vendors as a partner because they're helping you be successful in your business. And the bottom line there is, as a partner, there are things that vendors can do. And we actually just wrote a great article on this on our blog about how they, as partners, can help you be more successful. The first thing they can help you do, obviously, is make sure you're getting what we call market price. And what is market price? Market price is not retail. It is something above wholesale. And so it's somewhere in between wholesale and retail. And because of the fact that we've done quite a few audits over the years, over 25,000, we have a lot of information on pricing that we use to our advantage to affect market pricing. But the bottom line is, and Yannick will go into this, is the coming business shift that can change everything.
Yeah, and this is what Terry was talking about with the Evolved Enterprise book, is how to move your company from being transactional, where you're competing on price only, to transformational, to even transcending what business can be. And this is truly this prediction that businesses without a core impact will be at a competitive disadvantage in the next 4 to 7 years or less. And Forbes magazine actually quoted me about this, saying that businesses who ignore this trend will be on life support in 4 to 7 years. So it means, as a hard entrepreneur, you already know this, but for many of you, it's like, how do we find the money to go do the things that we want to do? And just some stats that back all this up. Companies that have a more purpose-driven, impact-driven are outperforming the S&P 500 by 1,400%. We also saw aligning with customer preferences, and this data keeps expanding that people want to buy from companies that have a greater purpose and mission. And then this is some of the new data about it, and as you can see how it just keeps going up and up and up. And then the other thing that's really interesting is that 57% are willing to pay more for an equivalent product from a purpose-driven brand. Also from your employees, so I talk about that. This is coming from the outside in, and then also the inside out, which is your team members want to work for a company that has a greater purpose and meaning. And so you see here from the consumers willing to even switch brands, and then especially certain age demographics, millennials, 91% would change brands to a cause-related one. And then from your team members, to attract the top talent, you want to have a bigger purpose and mission, because so many large percentage would rather work for a company that has greater meaning and purpose. And then this is one of my friends who just recently passed, but Tony Hsieh, who's former CEO of Zappos, talks about there's this transformational shift in business, and what's working before is no longer working. And I think we see this more and more and more, literally every single day. And every single industry is really ripe for disruption. And one of the ways to do it is by making sure that you have the cash flow to support exactly how you want to disrupt the world. And that guy said that there's some good things happening here too. So a lot of people think of this as giving back. It's not giving back. I don't even like giving back. But there's a couple fun stories, and actually we only have a little bit of time, so I won't even go through this. But I just recently saw a commercial with this company, Bamba Socks. They started off as just doing socks, and they're like, oh, socks are the number one thing most requested in shelters. So they were like, well, we can have a pair of socks that we sell, and then another pair that we give away. But then they engineered a better sock, so you can see the sock there, darker color, antimicrobial, reinforced seam, so it's a better sock. And then the founder said, if we sell 1 million pairs of socks, I'd actually get the tattoo of the logo. And that happened in 2.5 years instead of 10 years like you predicted. And now they've given away 35 million items. So massive like hockey stick curve. This is another one that I've seen have a massive growth, where they take a pound of ocean trash out and making it into recycled plastic that turns into this bracelet. So people get really excited by this. Keep going. And this was not even I think I pulled this out. This was even an updated one that I had. You can see how it just keeps growing and growing. And that means that there's 8.7 million bracelets sold as well. And some other interesting ones that are not just this buy one, give one, because a lot of people get stuck in this buy one, give one mentality. But this company, Ultra Testing, they have a model. I have 11 impact models I talk about in Evolved Enterprise, and one is empowered employment. And so they bring people who are on the autism spectrum scale, and they have them do things where their company will do quality control testing across different browser platforms and so forth. And so they have what could be a disadvantage, but they turn it into a competitive advantage, because typically people on that neurological spectrum are more prone to having repetitive tasks and attention to detail. So it makes it a competitive advantage. And I love that. So that's one of the things that they talk about here. So just some kind of ways to stretch your mind about where the impact can come from, what you can be doing to make that difference. So, and you can see their mission is to prove that neurodiversity is a competitive advantage. And then this company is called Pacific. Their superpower essentially is making food that has a shelf life to it. So what they do, instead of giving a dollar amount or something like that, they use their superpower, and once a month they shut down their production line and work with a local food bank, take all the food that is in there, and then they let their employees come up and use their creativity to come up with new recipes to make these non-perishable goods. And so together they've been able to prevent more than 200,000 pounds of trash from being wasted every year. So there's a lot of different ways of creating that impact. And you can just keep going and flip through those, Mark, but you can just see there are so many things going on in the world, and there's probably a deep cause that you care about, but every single one of them can be tied into the impact that you want to make. And so we already shared that Forbes quote, but Fast Company talks about why purpose-driven companies are often more successful. And Deloitte, very big consulting company, talks about purpose-driven companies witness higher market share gains and grow 3 times faster on average than their competitors. So all of this is really just proving that entrepreneurs are really in the right place. And this is your open door to even do more of that. And again, Mark is here to show you, how do you find the cash to do more of that?
So that's what we're all about. But one of the things right now that's going on that everybody should be aware about is the employee retention tax credit. The employee retention tax credit has changed 4 times since it was originally put into contract in the CARES Act in 2020. If you have been told that you do not qualify, we strongly recommend you reach out to whomever you use as your advisor in regards to these things, or by all certain, you can contact us. We've got a great program. As a matter of fact, in the last 2 days, we've gotten over $4 million for our clients, and the amounts just keep growing. And this is something that you can get back if you have had one of two things: a drop in revenue or a impact by a government order. Anyhow, this is a pretty detailed thing. We've got a pretty good program set up ourselves. Here's some more information about what it was versus what it is now. It's a lot to take in. And once again, we can certainly go over it with you at a separate point. Or if you have more questions at the end, we're happy to answer those questions. These are some examples of businesses that were told they didn't qualify. Home care services company at 123 employees, told by their accountant, their bookkeeper, and their payroll company that they didn't qualify. Guess what? They do qualify, and it's going to be over $1.2 million in a recovery for them. A restaurant also told they didn't qualify. They got $185,000. A nonprofit that got PPP loans and was forgiven also receives government funding for payroll. They got a recovery of $739,000. So a lot of different types of business, but the key is, and this goes back, and I'll let Yannick explain this program that we put together here about employee rewards for impact that we've tied into our ERTC program.
Yeah, so each time that we have a recovery or we find an expense reduction, we have a percentage that goes into an impact pool that the company can decide what they do with. So the company can either make a contribution to a cause they care about or a community project, or we also have, we've teamed up with a group called Good World, where actually we can reward every single one of your employees, since especially for this employee retention credit. So we would almost like a little gift card that gets provided to them, and then they have their choice of 1.5 million charities that they can donate. So it makes you look like a hero, and that they feel like they're a part of it. And again, it's all part of aligning with the greater purpose and mission. So it's just a really simple way of having that full comprehensive impact piece.
Plus, we also can track that for you. It's all part of the whole program, as Yannick mentioned.
And matching and all sorts of ways that you can keep adding to it.
Right. So Ebony Group, another big consulting firm, basically said that U.S. businesses are overspending by $180 billion as of last year. And that's due to not knowing true market costs, as I explained at the very beginning. And most of the time, people are using price benchmarking as a tool, which we find is more of a crutch than a tool. These are the categories where we can help a lot of different businesses. There's quite a few of them here. One client that came to us, who actually, it's a company's called Yoga Fit, we actually just found them a 15% savings on their merchant fees. And why can we find those kinds of savings? We don't need to change your equipment, your programming, your whatever you're using. It's a matter of getting in your own account and getting you the best possible pricing, because we're not a middleman. We are dealing directly with what's called an ISO, which are the people at the top of the food chain that actually help provide. So you're not paying an in-between surcharge between what we do and what they do. Our network of, I call it our all-star partner network, just to give you an idea of the type of people that are part of our network. When we need specialists that we bring in for different categories, excuse me, sorry. For instance, our gentleman who does the medical spend category, he at one time was the chief pricing officer and then the president of Cardinal Health. Our guy who does our logistics spent 37 years at UPS, was a senior VP, and he created the pricing model they use today, retired 4 years ago, and now he does expense reduction for a living.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to my friend, and they have a $20 million hospital, and I mentioned to him about that, and just, it's so easy because it's risk-free, and we explained the whole process.
So our approach is a three-legged stool approach. First, we look for equal or better product of what you're currently getting. We look for equal or better service levels of what you need. And then we look for lower prices, because if you can't get what you want when you need it, lower prices are irrelevant. And for us, we do it with risk, is a risk-free service. You only pay us out of the savings that we create for you. And we give you the two things that you want most: more profit and more growth. As I mentioned, it's a risk-free audit. If we do find savings, then we share in the savings. If we don't find savings, you will never receive an invoice for us. And 91% of the time, we're able to provide better pricing, better service levels, better product quality without changing your current provider, vendor, partner, and that's just absolutely unnecessary. Our promise is it's 100% risk-free. We have leading experts working for you. It's 100% done-for-you solution. 0 additional employees needed on your side. We typically need about 10 minutes from someone on your side for each category we look at, and the evolved impact is baked in, as Yannick mentioned, because 5% of the fees that we get paid, we will donate back to a cause that you care about.
And we recommend you match it, but you don't have to match it, so we increase it to 10%. But it's just even if you do nothing, it's already part of that.
So here was one of our clients was a insurance agency. They had a multifunctional digital biz hub, and we saved them $38,000. Another one of our clients had a 1 million square foot building in the Chicago area. We saved them $236,000 a year in energy savings because, once again, we go direct to the energy providers, no middlemen's involved. One of our clients, we found $2.3 million in overpaid workers' comp premiums that were returned to them. One of our clients is a municipal client. We saved them $11,000 per police vehicle that they were purchasing in that fiscal year. Some other savings, and these are actually ERTC results that we got. HVAC company, you can see $536,000. Podcast recording company, $195,000. Nonprofit with 207 employees, $1.7 million, and on and on and on. So a pool installer with 170 employees got $2.3 million back for ERTC. This is something going on right now that will last a short period of time. It's been funded by Congress, and it's something that for certain that you can take advantage, that everybody can take advantage. And if you don't have somebody that is very knowledgeable in this, and I will tell you that most CPAs are not very knowledgeable in it. They know it exists, but because they don't do it every day like we do, they're not really 100% focused on, do you qualify based on whatever the government order was that interrupted your business. So just to give you some ideas of things that are, if you're a restaurant business, you most likely qualify. You were shut down. Even if you had more revenue because you went to go, you went to outside venue for your services. If you are a manufacturer, you had no real drawdown in revenue, but you couldn't get your cardboard to put your product in because of the supply chain issue. You most likely qualify. So these are just some examples of different businesses that we've helped, and some of the ones that you already saw on the slides.
Yeah, so Mark, what I think is interesting, and Terry, if you have any questions or anyone else has any questions, put them in here, is, maybe you can give a tip or two. So we work with bigger companies on the expense reduction side, but if you're a smaller company, how do you negotiate those expense reduction pieces with any vendors that you have?
And that's what I was going to ask, because about 50% of our community here at Heartrepreneur are smaller businesses, coaches,
Sure.
consultants. So if you could speak to that would be absolutely awesome. Thank you, Mark.
Really, so for any size business, we can help you with merchant fees. We don't really care whether you're a startup or whether you've got 5,000 employees. It doesn't matter. We can help you there. We've got an arrangement with our partner there that is willing to help anybody. And typically for smaller businesses, there's something called a GPO, a General Purchasing Organization. Now, make sure if you find one that you don't get involved with one that has a annual maintenance fee, because there's plenty of them out there that do not have membership fees, annual maintenance fees, or what have you. And but they're out there, and they are extremely helpful. That will get you better pricing. It may not be as good as something that we can do if you were a client of ours, but they're going to get you pretty close. And because they have large buying power, that's the key. The key is the buying power. They've got a lot of businesses like yours that because of their size will join a GPO, a general purchasing organization that can help smaller businesses be more successful. But the other thing is go direct to your vendor. If you don't ask, you don't get. Okay? I always say, don't ask, don't get. And just because you have a current contract doesn't mean it can't be renegotiated, especially with people who have landlord leases right now, real estate. You have office space leases right now. Landlords are really going to have a hard time keeping that space. And so my suggestion is if you're not priced right to the market for what your real estate lease is right now, have a conversation with your landlord. A lot of times landlords will renegotiate leases, even if you got 1, 2, 3 years less on a 5 or a 10-year, or who knows what the size of the leases are. But there's other areas where you can be proactive yourself. You got a relationship with your landlord. We find them right now, they don't want to lose tenants. Right now, with the way things have changed since the pandemic, where you have, all these bifurcated work, employment scenes. I mean, the bottom line is, I just saw on a website the other day, you can work for them 3 ways. You can work totally remote. You can do a hybrid, remote and come to the office. Or if you want the traditional come to the office, we're happy to have you there too. So this is now showing up on websites where they're offering employment to people. This is a total change. This never happened before. And so believe me, this is an area, if you have a lease, where you can take advantage of the current market situation to a certain point, because you never want to take advantage of anybody. But if you have an above market lease, I would have a conversation with my landlord and say, hey, we'd like to renegotiate our lease. Maybe you got 2 years left on the lease and you want to extend it back to 5 years. They'll extend it at current favorable terms and basically, wipe out your old lease. So those are just a couple ideas. Like I said, happy to help anyone with merchant fees. You just have to contact us. It doesn't matter whether you're a startup or, you're a seasoned employer with a lot of transit. We don't care. We can help you.
Yeah, so let's also make sure that at some point we give how to get in touch, whether you want it in the comments or whatever. I can just tell that this is going to be something that will help my client family members, and therefore I know it will help others here in our entrepreneur community.
And no matter what you're doing, if you're a coach or anything that you're doing there, the easiest way, and I've learned this from Mark, is we run a report. What's the top 5 categories that you're spending on? And then you take a look at it and see, okay, are there some places that make sense because obviously it doesn't matter if you're spending $1 on paper clips every month, that's not going to help you too much. But if you're spending a lot on merchant fees or a lot on whatever it is, now every single dollar you save goes straight to that bottom line. And again, it can be applied to greater impact and making a greater difference. The other piece of this too, Terry, is anyone that has clients or connections to CEOs or bigger companies, we have a really interesting program to become ambassadors or even channel partners. And we have people right now that are making very significant commissions, that they're making full-time profits essentially just from 1 or 2 deals that they've been throwing our way, and we do all the work for them.
Wow. So it would be if we're like in touch with the CEO and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. And so maybe your clients are bigger businesses, but you're a smaller coach, but you work with a few executives in that way, or whatever the case is, or this is something that we've had other people say, yeah, this is an amazing opportunity right now, especially the employee retention tax credit, because just in the last couple of days, as Mark said, we've recovered $4 million. And so we work same thing on a success fee there. If we don't do any recovery, there's no fee. And then the channel partner ambassador gets a percentage of that as well. So everybody wins, and it's a really great win for everyone.
Yeah. So, anybody that wants to get in touch with us, you can go to our website, evolvedprofits.com, evolved, EVOLVED profits.com, and just to contact us. If you want us, and for your people, Terry, we'd be happy to do a free review. So anybody can come to us and contact us, and we'll take a look and maybe give you a couple ideas. If we can't be helpful, we'll give you a couple ideas where you can. Another big area where people have a lot of issues with is in health insurance. A lot of times I'll ask a business, what's your biggest check you write every month? And everybody says, oh, it's for my health plan, right?
Yeah.
So we've got some ideas there as well that could be helpful that we can, believe it or not, even 10 employee businesses can do self-insurance. And self-insurance, what does that mean? Well, that means that there's a big way for you to save money if you self-insure, but then you buy what's called a reinsurance policy. Let's just say you're spending, $500,000 a year on insurance, okay, for healthcare. And maybe you do self-insure, and now all of a sudden you're only spending $300,000 because you haven't had a catastrophic claim. But you don't want to risk anything more than the $500,000 that you originally decided you would spend on healthcare. You buy a reinsurance policy for everything above that $500,000, and you're not going to pay anything. The insurance companies are going to pay. And so there's all these different techniques and strategies that we have that we've designed over the years for many of our clients, and we're happy to offer any of your clients, Dr. Terry. We'd be happy to help or have a conversation. It's worth a conversation for us to to help people out be more successful. That's what we're here.
Yeah, so far, I'm literally taking notes at the same time. I am learning so much, and I'm thinking of some CEOs I'm connected with who would love this information. I'm thinking of myself who would love to save on merchant fees. And I'm also thinking about client family members and others in the group who've raised questions about things like this. So super helpful. And I am going to recommend that folks connect with you at evolvedprofits.com. This has spurred on from my own thinking so many additional questions. What about this? What about that? How would that work in my business? So I appreciate not just the learning, but the offer of, let's see if we can help you in your company, your business. I really, really do.
That's our pleasure.
Great. We've got about 3 minutes. The time goes so fast. Any last minute words or thoughts that you have here?
No, just as I mentioned, the bottom line is, we're here to help. That's our mission. And with that help, if we help businesses find, money that they didn't know they had, then obviously that's money that they can create, give back. Is Yannick illustrated so greatly about all the different businesses that are doing it. And oh, by the way, you don't have to do it like them. There's other ways to do it too. But giving back is what Evolved Profits is all about. And it's something that every business should certainly look at if they're not currently doing.
Yeah, and I will say that entrepreneur-based businesses, we're all about how do we give back? How do we help the greater good? So there's so many, even in your examples, it got my head going with so many different things that we could be doing to create a bigger impact.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to come at a sacrifice of our profits. In fact, I think it increases our profits, and this is just another way of increasing our profits by looking at our expenses.
Yeah. Any last minute things that you want to share? I've got about a minute. This has been phenomenal. I literally have a whole page of notes.
Yeah, once you get into it's so many of us focus on that one aspect of make more, and then there's a whole nother part of the save more, and it all goes to the same place. And Mark is an expert in this, and our team that he's assembled is really incredible at it. Make sure you identify yourself, as coming from Terry Levine or Heartpreneur, so that we can take good care of you. And then also about that ambassador or channel partner possibility. Again, those are huge opportunities right now. And it's probably a limited window. It's about 18 months that we're looking at for this employee retention tax credit. So it's really worth getting on that sooner than later.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say for the, Max actually leads up our team on the ERTC, and, literally from the day that we get all the documents, we have a turnaround that is within 2 to 5 business days at the most. So not only do we get the data and we get you results, but we get them to you quicker than most other people out there are doing it. But it's not without a lot of diligence, because our team is made up of CPAs. It's made up of tax attorneys. And if there's any question whether or not you qualify, the tax attorneys that are involved actually were instrumental in the writing of the legislation. So they know, and oh, by the way, the fee that we charge for it also covers, should the IRS ever come knocking on your door, we'll defend you all the way to tax court for no additional fees. So that's all part of our offer as well.
That's amazing. Someone did text me a question, so I just want to take a moment and read it. They got kicked off of Facebook right now for some reason. She texted me and said, does this also apply to nonprofits that have employees and that are paying rent for a facility?
Absolutely. 100%. Yep.
Okay. That question now gave me an idea of some folks that I can make introductions to as well.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, we just got the Boys and Girls Club, a really nice tax credit back, or I guess it's not a tax credit, but an amount back. It's been, the best part is sending those emails out, and then people just, they're being so excited because of what they can do with that increased revenue, essentially.
Yeah, we actually got, for one of our nonprofits, they were like so floored at the dollar amount. They were like, they couldn't believe that this money was going to come back to them. Because keep in mind, as a nonprofit, this money comes back. You now don't have to fundraise for those dollars.
That's just what I was thinking. Yeah. That's brilliant. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yep. So. Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to thank you all. This has been one of the most valuable, literally, webinars I've ever been on. And I don't think I've ever taken so many notes in such a short amount of time. I look forward to connecting, because there are certain things that you mentioned that I'm like, yes, I want to go deeper there, and ambassador and all of this. And in the meantime, those of you watching, and especially my client family members, really pay attention and go back and then connect evolvedprofits.com. It's right there on the banner for those of you on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Just know it's evolvedprofits with an S.com.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you all. Have a beautiful rest of the day. And thanks everyone for tuning in.
You too.
Bye now.